Hello, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Juan Cuba, and I'm proud to be the chair of the Miami-Dade Democratic Party. There's an incredible energy in this room tonight, and I felt it ever since November. It's an energy that's sweeping across America and almost carried Jon Ossoff to victory in Georgia yesterday on the first ballot. It's an energy that is so fundamentally American, rooted in the belief that American values and ideals are worth fighting for, that this country will never be Trump's America, because America is not a thing to possess, but an idea to embody. The idea that if you work hard and play by the rules, you can make a better life for yourself and your family, regardless of what you look like or where you're from. That idea inspired my parents to leave everything behind in Peru and come to Miami in search of a better future. This city was built on that idea, and that idea is worth fighting for. I got to see your fighting spirit firsthand when just a few months ago our mayor cowardly capitulated to Donald Trump's demands on immigration, reversing our sanctuary city policy and putting our friends and neighbors at higher risk of deportation. When that happened, this community stood up and fought back. There were marches and protests, sit-ins and phone calls. Our community came together to say loud and clear, this is not who we are. We are not a community that violates a person's constitutional rights simply because they were born someplace else. We are not a community that separates families and turns its back on their own. No, we are a city of immigrants whose families came here seeking refuge, yearning for a better life. We are a beautiful mix of languages and cultures that together have created a city that is an epicenter of trade, tourism, and art. We are a 21st century city, and the rest of the country will look like this too, no matter whether Trump likes it or not. So get ready. It didn't happen on its own. The 66 Cuban Adjustment Act gave millions of Cubans fleeing political terror legal status. The 86 Immigration Reform Act gave legal status to millions more. And because of that, every time we have come out stronger. Because immigrants are the backbone of this country, they're the backbone of this economy, they open businesses and create jobs and opportunities for others. Immigrants built our roads and our buildings. They are teachers and doctors, engineers and lawyers. They are our neighbors, our friends, and our family. Protecting and welcoming immigrants isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. And our fight will continue every day until we defeat Republican policies that seek to terrorize our communities. And we must also rise to protect not just our community, but all communities of color. There are some Republicans in the state legislature right now who do not value our diversity, who dishonor that American idea. You may have heard Republican State Senator Frank Artiles in the news lately for demeaning his black colleagues in the Senate, using racist slurs and sexist language. We cannot let that abuse go unchecked. So I hope you will all join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. in front of the offices of Frank Artiles to demand he resign from the Senate. He does not deserve to represent such a diverse community. We must hold him accountable. So take out your phones and go to our website, www.miamidadedems.org, for the details on the protest. Again, that's miamidadedems.org. It's tomorrow at 10 a.m. in front of his offices. Friends, we must keep up this energy, and it's not enough to just protest. We must keep up this energy until we take back political power, until we take back Congress, until we take back Tallahassee and the governor's mission and the mayor's seat and the county commission and the city commission and the White House. We need to fight at every level. We have to keep up this energy because too many people are depending on us. So thank you. Thank you for being here today, and I can't wait to see our guests, Bernie Sanders and Tom Perez. But more than anything, I can't wait to show them that the movement we are seeing in this community will be here for the long haul, through the good and the bad. We're only getting started. Thank you.
In my life and I made it right. Now feel free. Do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want. Feel free. Who cares what they say? Just live your life, cause we don't live twice. Feel free. At a time of our lives, let's all get wild tonight. Feel free. Get on a ship and cruise the world. Are you with it, girl? I'm free to do what I want and have a good time. Now somebody, anybody, everybody, cause I'm free to do what I want and have a good time. Now somebody, anybody, everybody, say Miami. We were born to be free. We were born to be free. Let's escape and feel free. Yeah. Australia. We were born to be free. We were born to be free. Let's escape and feel free. Yeah. Mexico. We were born to be free. Bahamas. We were born to be free. Can't wait till we're free. Yeah. I'm free to do what I want and have a good time. Now somebody, anybody, everybody, cause I'm free to do what I want and have a good time. Now somebody, anybody, everybody, so I'm free to do what I want and have a good time. Now somebody, anybody, everybody, cause I'm free to do what I want and have a good time. Like
Georgia, oh Georgia, the heart been through this old sweet song. Keep Georgia on my mind. Georgia, oh, I got Georgia. And the song of you, the song I'm just sweet and tune. It's moonlight through mine. Oh, I feel it. the arms reach out to me. Yeah. The eyes smile tenderly. Children in peaceful dreams I see. I know the road I lead back to you, baby. But Georgia, I know.
Swear it down. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Get up off of that thing and dance to you better. Get up off of that thing and dance to you. Sing it now. Get up off of that thing and dance to you better. Get up off of that thing. Try to release that pressure. Get up off of that thing and shake the you better. Get up off of that thing and shake the. Say it now. Get up off of that thing and shake the you better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure. Get up off. Huh. Good God. So good. Everybody ready? Follow me. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Say it now. Get up off of that thing and shake the juice. Get up off of that thing What? On your mark, ready, set, let's go. Dance floor pro, I know, you know, I go psycho when my new joint hit. Just can't sit, gotta get jiggy with it. That's it, now honey, come ride. DKNY, all up in my eyes. You got a Prada bag with a lot of stuff in it. Give it to your friend, let's spin. Everybody looking at me, glancing at the kid. Wishing they was dancing a jig here with this handsome kid. Sick a cigar right from Cuba. I just bite it, it's for the look, I don't light it. Ill way to ammo on the hand, stay on play. Give it up, jiggy, make it feel like foreplay. Yo, my cardio is infinite. Big Willie style's all in it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. What? You on the ball with your kid? Watch your step, you might fall trying to do what I did. Mama, I'ma come close side in the middle of the club with the rubber dub. No love for the haters, mad cause I got 4 seats at the Lakers. See me on the 50-yard line with the Raiders. Met Ali, he told me I'm the greatest. I got the fever for the flavor of a crowd pleaser. DJ play another from the Prince of this Shore Highness. Only bad chicks riding my whip. South to the west, to the east, to the north. Bump my hits and watch them go off and get shit sharp. You don't stop in the winter order. I makes it high, getting jiggy with them. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. 850 IS if you need a lift. Who's the kid in the drop? Who else will slip? Living that life, some consider a myth. Rock from South Street to 125th. Women used to tease me, give it to me now nice and easy. Since I moved up like George and Wheezy, cream to the maximum. I'll be asking them, would you like to bounce with the brother that's platinum? Never see Will attacking them. Rather play ball with Shaq and them, flatten them. Like getting, thought I took a spell, but I didn't trust the lady of my life. She hitting, hit her with a drop top with the ribbon. Crib for my mom on the outskirts of Philly. You trying to flex on me? Don't be silly. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it. Getting jiggy with it.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours, it will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, the spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots, we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish, and then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh glory, oh. We'll cry glory, oh glory, oh.
Selma is now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, heroes, to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy is lethal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald ego. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win a war individually. It take the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory. Oh. Oh,
falling, I'm the youth. Ay, I am the greatest. Ay, this is the proof. Ay, I work hard, pray hard, pay dues. Ay, I transform with pressure. I'm hands-on with effort. I failed twice before. My bounce back was special. Let downs will get you, and the critics will test you. But the strongest survive. Another scar may bless you.
Don't give up.
No, no.
Don't give up.
No, no.
Don't give up. No, no, no.
Nah.
Don't give up. I won't give up. Don't give up. No, no, no. I'm free to be the greatest I'm alive. I'm free to be the greatest here tonight. The greatest, the greatest, the greatest. I love you. The greatest, the greatest. I love you.
Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold you tight. So happy together. If I should call you up, invest a dime, and you say you belong to me, and ease my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, baby, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and me, no matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. So happy together. We're happy together. So happy together.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Alex Flores.
I'm not Bernie Sanders. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Stephen Battelle.
Thank you so much. Good evening and welcome to this special event. You all said you wanted this to happen back in January, and it's happening. And I get in trouble for leaving the script every single time. So my name is Stephen Battelle. I'm the chair of the Florida Democratic Party, almost 100 days into this job. And our whole team is so proud to have worked with the DNC and Senator Sanders to make this happen. What we need to send them away knowing is one irrefutable fact. Florida is the single biggest swing state in the country. Florida decides elections, and we are diverse in every way possible, and it's what makes us great. We're diverse ethnically, geographically, economically, and politically, and people came from as far away as Santa Rosa County, which is almost in Alabama, and as far south in the Keys. I mean, this is what makes our state great. Tonight, I am so proud to welcome Senator Sanders and Chairman Perez to Florida. And to share with them our community and our state, which is the most passionate and driven community of Democrats anywhere in the country. So when they come out, be as loud as you can be so they remember us and come back often. Last year, the presidential election didn't go the way we wanted to. So we are here tonight. We are here tonight to fight back and come together. We do need to remember that we did win a lot of important races at the state and local level. And we have so many progressive champions here tonight, and I'd like them all to rise so we could recognize them. We can't change what happened on Election Day, but we can organize and resist the harmful policies brought on by this Republican Party. We must not let our rights be eroded, and we must fight back at every single level, which means going far deeper than what's happening at the national level and getting involved locally. It means speaking up at local council and commission meetings. It means voting in every single election. It means canvassing and registering voters in non-election years. And it means running for office. It means coming together as progressives to fight for the future of our country. Our diversity makes us more powerful. We believe in health care and education for all. We believe in a fair criminal justice system that doesn't house people for profit. We believe in the fight for 15. And as a community built with the creativity, the minds, the backs, and the hands of immigrants, we believe in an immigration system that doesn't separate families. We believe in an economy where anyone, regardless of what you look like, how you grew up, where you grew up, where you were born, can get ahead and make the American dream a reality once again. Our vision of equality of opportunity for all is both optimistic and inclusive. Today's event with Senator Sanders and Chairman Perez sends a clear message to Miami, to Florida, and to the rest of our entire country. We are united. We will fight back, and we will win. To stop the Republicans from rolling back our 8 years of progress that we have made, that was hard work and often messy. We can't let them take us back to an unfriendly and restrictive past. We must come together as a strong, progressive front. We must take the fight to them and win back our state and our country. In this Miami that I was born in, when we are sick and tired of something, we say, basta. We say, basta, enough. And that's that's happening all over our state. People have had enough. We will not tolerate the racist, sexist remarks of a Florida senator, and we will not rest. We will not rest until he is out of office. The momentum we are seeing all over Florida, in big cities and small cities and counties with a few Democrats and in counties with lots of Democrats, this is historic. The Women's March was the largest protest in the history of our world. The phones on Capitol Hill are ringing off the hook. We are making them crazy. Town halls all over the country are overflowing with people ready to hold elected officials accountable. But we can't stop there. We have to go further. And I challenge all of you, and all of you, especially a few of you, to channel your passion and your anger into action. It's not enough to simply be angry or to post things on Facebook. Join your local DEC. Join a Democratic club. Join a caucus. Recruit people to our movement. Register them to vote and make sure they go out and vote. Thank you for joining us today. And every single day you have answered our call to action. I have no doubt, none at all, that together our passion, our drive, our commitment, and our desire for progress will win Florida and our country back. We are here today to say we're coming together. We're going to fight back together. Tomorrow, we take back our cities, our state, and our country. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Stephanie Myers.
Wow. Okay, so good evening, everyone. And I can tell that everybody here is very excited to be here. Bernie! Although perhaps you don't have the nerves that I do right now. So my name is Stephanie Myers, and I am the lead organizer for the women's rally that happened here in South Florida, right around the corner. And I want to start by thanking the organizers here, obviously Chairman Perez and Senator Sanders. And I think that if someone told me that I would be actually speaking at a DNC event with the chair of the party and one of the most popular senators of our time, I would laugh and suggest that they seek help. And in fact, after I got the call and got the shock and the honor to be here, I actually did that to one of my friends. I called them and told them that exact thing. Because the truth is I wasn't involved politically. Now don't get me wrong, and don't misunderstand, I have always been a lifelong Democrat, and I voted in every major election. But I was comfortable, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit complacent. For me, 2016 changed that. 2016 showed me the true damage of my non-action. So my call to serve was given to me by a dear friend, whom I hadn't actually spoken to in about 20 years. And we went to junior high together, and I happened to see a post asking if anyone was interested in holding a solidarity event here in South Florida. I immediately sent a friend request, because believe it or not, we weren't even friends on Facebook. And I said, my goodness, Laura, how are you, and what can I do to help? Her response, why don't you lead the charge and organize the event? So perhaps we should be careful when we ask certain questions, and be careful what we wish for. But the offer was an opportunity, and it was a light that pulled me out of my despair and gave me the option and the chance to act. So, did I know what I was doing? Absolutely not. But there was no way that South Florida was not going to lend our voice to DC. We needed this to happen. We needed to heal. We needed to be given a chance to start getting involved and to learn about the issues. These issues were always there. They were highlighted by the election cycle. We all know that the rhetoric was horrible. And they say that I organized the rally, but let me tell you, I learned something. It wasn't me, it was everybody. Everybody jumped to my side to help and pitch in. Without the grassroots movement, it never would have happened. The donations, the volunteers, everything was incredible and humbling. Everybody else made it happen. And all of you allowed it to be a success. Each and every one of you. So not only did we have a historic showing around the world, but we had one here locally as well. We were also the largest event in the state. We are #resistance. As Senator Sanders made, as one of his themes of his historic grassroots campaign, he said that we stand together, when we stand together, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. This event is an inspirational show of unity. It's a call to action for us to come together and be part of this change together. I'm now currently a member of the DEC, the Broward Progressive Caucus, the West Broward Democratic Women's Caucus, and have become a board member of the ACLU. I attend rallies like this and protests because I demand better. We all demand better. So being involved in your local events and in your parties is having a seat at the table. And honestly, if you don't have a seat at the table, you're probably a menu item. We need that seat and we need that voice. It's showing up, turning out, and making sure that our values are represented. Standing up to the policies and the positions that we oppose, because we can be a better nation than this. We are a better nation than this. So history looks back on times like these and asks, who was it that responded to the call to serve? Who stepped out of their comfort zone and jumped to serve? I know before the Women's March, I needed to have done more, and when I look back years from now, I want to be in a position where I can say that I did something. I don't want to have regrets that I could have done more. It's a commitment that I'm doing each and every day, and one very important thing that the march taught me, perhaps the most important lesson, was that we need to stand up, and that I was a voice for the women who can't, and the people who can't, and those that are considered less than, and those who needed to be represented. And honestly, being inspired by all of you here today, and just the energy and the movement, I am going to run for office. Because you know what? I'm here to serve. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Fed Ingram.
Is Miami in the house? Is Miami in the house? Any Democrats in the house? Any Bernie supporters in the house? No, I didn't hear that. Any Bernie supporters in the house? My goodness. Well, I don't know how long it took, but I sure hope you feel as good as you look. Ladies and gentlemen, you are America. You are what this country believes in. You are what we should be. You are the persons and the people who we respect the most in this country because you care about your fellow man. You care about the woman next to you. You care about the children in classrooms. You care about communities. You care about grandmothers and abuelas. You care about immigrants. You care about LGBTQs. You care about student debt. You care about college affordability. You care about the fight for 15. You care about public schools. That is who we are. We are the Democratic Party. The big tent is right here. This is who we are. So let me just digress for a second. My name is Frederick Ingram. I represent the Florida Education Association, over 140,000 teachers and educational support professionals around this state. And we ask the question every day, why are teachers abysmally paid? Why are we underserved? Why are we disrespecting our teachers? So I'm a parent. I would not leave my child with anyone else except their public school teacher every day. We are not the enemy. I am sure, like many of you, pay student loan debt every single month. Why is it that we are not offering the opportunity for folks to go to college no matter what your station, what your background, what your culture, where you come from, what zip code you live in? That's what this is about. And so people will ask you, what is the economic tie to the Democratic Party? I'll tell you where the economic tie starts. It starts in our classrooms. It starts in kindergarten, and first grade, and second grade, and third grade, and middle school, and high school. That is the economic engine. Because without our classrooms, there certainly would be more emergency rooms. We are holding the gap. We are standing in the firewall. Teachers do it every single day. And so I will end this by saying, I will tell you my short story. I live in Tallahassee, but my hometown is Miami, Florida. And more specifically, my hometown is Overtown, in Liberty City, in Brownsville. And I taught at Miami Carroll City Senior High School, and Booker T. Washington Senior High School, and Lake Stevens Middle School. And I share that with you to tell you that every child should have a shot. Public education is the anchor and the corner of democracy. It is still the great equalizer. And I come from a family that has struggled all of my life and decades before I even existed. But I will tell you this, I stand on my ancestors because I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. I am an educated person who believes that not only should I lift, but I should climb at the same time. Because the elevator to success is broken. We have to teach our students to take the stairs. It is going to take each and every one of us to do this right. And so, lastly, we have to take this energy and channel this energy into midterm elections. We have to channel this energy and tell Mr. Trump, you, sir, are fired. We're the party. We're the people. We are the people who can make a difference. If you came here today and you believe that we can make a difference, let me hear you make some noise. Let Bernie Sanders know that you're here. Let Tom Perez know that you're here. Let Donald Trump know that we are here and we ain't going nowhere. This is who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Florida Education Association, we can do this. 18, 18, 18, 18, 18, 18, 18, 18, 18. Get out there and vote. Thank you all very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Tom Perez.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell.
Good evening, Miami.
Won't back
All right. Good evening, my friends. Buenas noches. Es un gran honor pasar tiempo con ustedes hoy. Vamos a luchar juntos. Vamos a luchar contra este presidente. Él no tiene nuestros valores. It's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be with you together. And it's an honor to fight back together because, my friends, our unity is our greatest strength. And our unity is Donald Trump's worst nightmare. And we will continue that. Hey, I want to say thank you to Fed. I want to say thank you to Steve Battelle. I want to say thank you to all the other committed. I see DNC members here. I see party chairs here. I see serial activists all over this room. And I want to say thank you to all of you. I want to say thank you. Are there any union members in the audience? Thank you to all of you. Thank you for bringing us the middle class. Thank you. We know that when unions succeed, America succeeds. We know that when unions succeed, the middle class succeeds. We know that collective bargaining is one of the most important forces for middle class security that's ever been known to this country. And as the former Secretary of Labor, I say thank you. And to our teachers, I want to say thank you for educating our children. Thank you for giving them that level playing field, that head start, that fair start, that moral start. And I hope that someday, when we get rid of this president, we will have a Secretary of Education that once again believes in public education. And I hope, I'd like to ask for your help in thanking one more set of union members, and that is the employees of this Hyatt Hotel. After a 2-year battle, they won the right to unionize, and they are now represented by Unite Here, Local 355. Folks, we did not pick this venue by coincidence. We picked this venue to say thank you to the hard-working union members of Unite Here. And by the way, to the rest of downtown Miami and elsewhere, we're coming to unionize you as well. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I've had the privilege this week of traveling with my friend Bernie Sanders, and he will be the next speaker. It is our unity, as I've said, when we lead with our unity, when we lead with our values, when we marshal this incredible energy out there, the sky's the limit, my friends. We're about to hit the 100-day mark of this presidency. And you know what? Feels like 100 years for some. I know that. I'll tell you that. And it frankly, it breaks my heart to read what I've read over the last couple of days. You read about the immigrant who was deported in Los Angeles, the dreamer. I read today about the mother of 4 citizen children in Ohio who was deported. Donald Trump promised, I'm only going to go after people who are hardened criminals. Once again, another broken promise. You know what, my friends? Dreamers are not just a group of people in this country. They are a value statement about what we are as a nation. Our immigrant history. And yo soy hijos de dominicanos. Mis padres nacieron en la República Dominicana. I am proud of my immigrant roots. We should all be proud of our immigrant roots. Our immigration and our diversity is one of our greatest sources of strength. That's what makes America great, my friends. Our diversity. And you know that down here in Miami. You know that well. But unfortunately, we have a president who doesn't get it. Unfortunately, we have a president who day in and day out, it's chaos. It's carnage. He's a damn liar. That's what I say, pal. You're goddamn right he's a liar. And you know what? He lied throughout his campaign. He said, I'm going to make life better for workers. I'm going to make life better for the middle class. What did he do hours into his presidency? Hours, my friends. Hours into his presidency. He made it harder for first-time home buyers to buy a home. A couple hours later, I'm not talking about a couple days later, my friends. A couple hours after that, he reversed the position of the Department of Justice on a critical voting rights case that I was involved in down in Texas, because I believe that the right to vote is one of our most sacred rights in the land, and we should be protecting it. Protecting it. And what we know, and what we know from Donald Trump, and what we know from the Republican playbook, is that Donald Trump, they want to engage in voter suppression because that's the only way they can win. They talk about voter fraud, rampant voter fraud. I'll tell you the fraud. It's Donald Trump. It's Rick Scott. They're the frauds. And I'll tell you something else about your governor. He knows a little bit about Medicare fraud too, doesn't he? I'll tell you. He said that I'm going to bring jobs back home, Donald Trump. He even did an executive order yesterday, Buy American. Make sure we do that. Well, you know what, folks? Why don't you apply that to your own damn family business? Since roughly the first of the year, there have been over 50 pallets of clothing from the Ivanka clothing line that have come through the port of Los Angeles from China and Singapore and elsewhere. Hey, you know that wall he talked about building? Yeah, they have to put a garage on that wall, the garage door, because they got to drive the truck carrying the Trump merchandise that's made in Mexico. So why don't you start talking truth to power? He told the steel workers, I'm going to stick up for you. I'm going to talk tough with China. I'm going to call them a currency manipulator on day one. And what did he do last week? He said, never mind. Didn't mean it. So sorry. Did he go confront them? No. I mean, this is what we see day in and day out. And the biggest issue that has brought us together is what they tried to do with health care. The Affordable Care Act, my friends, has been a lifesaver. It hasn't been a job killer. And you know that down here in Florida. You have seen the impact of the Affordable Care Act. Si se puede, logramos, vamos a ganar. That's what we're going to do. You know what, my friends? You look at the impact. You have a governor who was in the healthcare industry. And look at what he was involved in. Medicare fraud, and then the bigger fraud of not accepting Medicaid expansion. That is the dumbest thing I could ever imagine. I can't understand why he's doing this. And let me tell you, the other thing I can't understand, my friends, is that some people call it Trump care, but he doesn't want to call it Trump care. You know, he wants to label and brand everything he does. You know, you got the Trump Towers, you got Trump steaks, you got Trump ties or suits or, you know, things like that. But he won't call it. He says, no, it's Ryan care. It's Trump care. Well, I have a name for it. It's I don't care. Because the Republican leadership doesn't give a shit about people who are suffering. That's what I've seen, my friends. And I'll tell you, you know, I've asked the police to put an all-points bulletin out for Congressman Carlos Curbelo. Carlos Curbelo, where are you? Because Carlos, this is what he did. He voted Trump's half-baked health care plan out of the committee. And what did he say? No one will lose coverage. That's bullshit, my friends. You know, and let me just give you one more fact about Mr. Curbelo. He promised in 2015 that his leadership PAC, a fund that he established to boost other Republicans, would only go to those who supported DACA. Well, guess what happened? That turned out to be, let me be more polite because I just saw a young child in the audience. That turned out to be a lie. That turned out to be faulty stuff. More than half of the Republicans who've gotten money from his PAC voted against continuing DACA. DACA is about keeping families united. It's about giving a chance to people. It's about the best of America. And why does this president divide and conquer? So we need to keep fighting. Because I tell you, I look at the issue of the opioid epidemic. And that's an epidemic that touches every zip code. It touches poor people. It touches middle-income people. It touches wealthy people. It knows no bounds. And the Affordable Care Act has enabled families to cope with it, to deal with it. And you know what, folks? The Affordable Care Act has prevented people from dying. And the Affordable Care Act will continue to do so. And the Affordable Care Act stands for the proposition that health care is a right. Health care is a right, not a privilege in this country. Health care should be a right for everybody in this country. And that's what we're for as Democrats. The right to health care. The right to health care for all. And that's what we're fighting for as Democrats. And that's why we need to be united in taking this on so we can have health care for all. That's what we're about. That's what Donald Trump's broken promises are about. And you know what, folks? We were united, and we will continue to be united because we must continue this work. You look at their budget, and the budget is another example of broken promises. The budget is bankrupt. They call it a skinny budget. I call it a shitty budget. Because you know what, my friends? How can you zero out Meals on Wheels? Meals on Wheels. Our nation is strong because we are compassionate. A compassionate nation understands that it's important to treat everyone with dignity. And that's what we must do. That's what we will continue to do. If he just took a couple less trips to Mar-a-Lago, you know, if he just did that, my friends, we could help restore Meals on Wheels for thousands of people around this state. And that's what we need to do. You know, people like Cora Brown, a Meals on Wheels recipient. She lives in Sanford. She's 73 years old. She worked as a supermarket cashier. She raised 6 children. She thought she'd have a secure retirement for her husband, but she had to take care of him for 8.5 years after he was injured by a stray gunshot that left him paralyzed. Meals on Wheels, my friends, allows her to get basic food. She says it's inhumane, and I couldn't agree with her more, to take these meals away from deserving seniors. I can't understand why we would have such a bankrupt policy, and that's why we need to keep fighting. The other program, this is a really interesting one, because just recently, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development was here in Florida. Yeah, his name is Ben Carson. Hey, now come on, in all fairness, he was qualified for the job. He's a homeowner. Come on. Well, so they sent him to Miami last week. And while he was here, he toured an apartment complex not too far from Marlins Park in East Little Havana. And this was built with federal funds. And by the way, this is an example of really bad advance work by your advance team. These are precisely some of the funds that their budget proposes to eliminate. And he's there touring it. It's called the Home Fund. It's a $950 million federal investment to buy and rehabilitate and build affordable housing. So there was, in a way, there was something truly poetic about the fact that Ben Carson got stuck in the elevator while he was there. You know, you gotta wonder what he was thinking, you know? Maybe, why should I have supported this guy Trump to begin with? But this is the hallmark of this administration's lies. They're pretending to support the very investments and institutions that they're actually destroying. And frankly, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to understand that. So, you know what, folks? I will tell you, this first 100 days of carnage and chaos have been undeniably unsettling. But I will tell you, I think the most remarkable thing about the first 100 days has been the activism of all of you across America. I'll tell you, because, you know, January 20th was undeniably an important day, but January 21st was far more important in the history of America. Thank you to all the women who led marches across this city, across this state, across this nation, around this world to say, Donald Trump, you don't stand for our values. Donald Trump, we are the United States of America. No somos los Estados divididos, somos los Estados Unidos. And we will continue to fight. And we continue to fight every day, my friends. And I see the evidence of those victories. Just yesterday in Atlanta, Georgia, outside the city, Congressional District 6. Now, let me give you some background. You probably know it. 37 years this has been in Republican hands. This is Newt Gingrich's old district. Yeah, we can boo that. Just 5 months ago, Tom Price won by 24 points in this race. And just yesterday, because of the collective power of we in this room and across America, Jon Ossoff won 48% of the vote there. And you know what, folks? That's amazing. And on June the 20th, he will become the next member of Congress from Congressional 6. And we will continue to win. Because you know what, folks? When we put our unity and our energy and our values into action, that translates to results. And people ask me with regularity, Tom, what do you miss about your old job? And that question's easy to answer. I miss the opportunity. I miss the opportunity to help people at scale. When you give 2 million women of color on food stamps who are home health workers, minimum wage and overtime protections, that's the definition of a good week. And that's what we do. When Democrats win, my friends, we help people at scale. And when Democrats lose elections, bad things happen to good people. That's why I ran for this office, because we need to build a Democratic Party that can elect people from the school board to the Senate and everywhere in between. And that's precisely what we're doing. And you know what, folks? We need a Democratic Party that is listening. And I have done a lot of listening, my friends. And here is what I have heard. Here's what I have heard from people. We need you, Tom. Yesterday in Kentucky, they said to me, we need you to articulate your values, Tom. What does the Democratic Party stand for? That's a fair question. So I'm here to tell you what the Democratic Party proudly stands for. Soy orgulloso ser demócrata. Because you know what, my friends? We believe in a government and an economy that works for everybody, not just a few at the top. We believe as Democrats that America works best only when it works for everyone. We respect the dignity of every person. We believe that nobody who works a full-time job in this country should have to live in poverty. We believe that health care is a right for all and not a privilege for a few. We believe that zip code should never determine destiny in this nation. We believe that education is the great equalizer, and we should support our teachers and paraeducators who are doing God's work. If they paid you by the value of your work in the schools, you should be millionaires because your work is priceless. We believe that when unions succeed, the middle class succeeds. We believe that when women succeed, the America succeeds. We believe that women should have choice over what to do with their reproductive health rights. We believe as Democrats that we are our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper, and we should always provide a ladder of opportunity for everyone. We believe, my friends, that the term dreamers is not simply a group of people. Dreamers is a darn good value statement about who we are as Americans. We believe that our diversity is indeed our greatest strength as a nation. We believe that climate change is not a hoax. It's a reality that we must confront day in and day out. And my friends, we believe that no matter where you were born, no matter what your first language was, no matter who you love, no matter who you worship, the American dream is there for you because the American dream is about opportunity for everyone. That's what the Democratic Party is for. That's what the Democratic Party will fight for. And when we are united, we are at our best. when we put our values into action, we are at our best. And you know what, folks? I leave you with this. I had the opportunity, the privilege of a lifetime to work for a guy named Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy was one of the most effective progressive senators in the history of this country. And I got to be part of the extended family. And when we go back to the 60s, I was in diapers. Bobby Kennedy was out there organizing farm workers. And he spoke about where we were as a nation. He spoke about what we were doing as a nation. And as he was sitting there with Cesar Chavez, this is what he said. He said to America, we stand at a defining moment in history, what he called the point of difficulty and danger that would determine our country's future. He went on to say that when your children and grandchildren take their place in America, taking good jobs at good pay, when you look at them, you will tell them, I was there. I stood up. I marched. I did this. My friends, that statement is just as powerful today as it was 50 years ago. When we are united, we move forward. Dr. King said, quite appropriately, that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. But my friends, it never bends on its own. We must bend it together. We will bend it together. And when we bend it together, that's when we're at our strongest. Thank you very much. And it is now my great honor and privilege to present to you my friend, Senator Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Miami. Thank you. Thank you. It sounds to me like you guys are ready to make a political revolution. Well, if you are, you've come to the right place. Thanks very much for being here. Let me thank Tom Perez for his remarks. Last night, we were in Louisville, Kentucky, and then we got on a plane and we arrived in Miami quite late, went to bed, got up in the morning, and some people were very kind and they took me around the city. And I went to Little Haiti. It's a beautiful community which is now under threat of incredible gentrification. You got some billionaires coming in who think it is okay to push out tenants, to push out small business people who have been there for decades in order to build fancy condominiums. And then after that, I went over to Liberty City. And we talked to some beautiful people there who were telling me that you got babies there who are homeless, moms sleeping out on
couches, schools are inadequate, talking about the fact that we have a drug economy there, that there are no jobs, that kids are not graduating high school, that after-school programs are not adequately funded and child care programs are not adequately funded. And what we have got to do, it seems to me, is to address not only the issues of Little Haiti and the issues of Liberty City, we have got to begin to look at what is really going on in America and have the guts to confront those issues. Now, you can watch television as we stay in Vermont till the cows come home. You can watch it 24/7. You can listen to what goes on in Congress day after day. But the real issues impacting the American people, the working people, the middle class, the poor, are hardly ever discussed. So that's what we're going to talk about this evening. We're going to talk about the wealthiest nation in the history of the world, but the fact is that most people don't know how wealthy we are because almost all of the new income and wealth is going to the top 1%. We're going to talk about the moral depravity of a situation where the top 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. We're going to talk about the reality in America is that since the year 2000, we have seen a tenfold increase in the number of billionaires in this country, and yet you got veterans sleeping out on the streets in Miami, Florida. Today in America, the 20 wealthiest people own more wealth than the bottom half of America. You got one family, the Walton family of Walmarts. One family. This is not Latin America. This is not some small country. One family in the United States of America owns more wealth than the bottom 42% of our people. So we have got to take a deep breath and do what Congress does not do what the media does not do, and make it clear that that type of income and wealth inequality is immoral. It is not acceptable. We're going to change it. We cannot continue living in a nation which the wealthiest 1% gets richer and richer and richer while the middle class continues to shrink and millions of our people are living in desperate poverty. This is America, and together, if we have the guts, together we're going to take on the billionaire class. We're going to create an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. Now, let me also say this, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. It will offend some people in this room, but I believe it's the truth. Donald Trump did not win the election. The Democrats lost the election. And that means, and what you have got to be part of, that means rebuilding the Democratic Party, making it a grassroots party, a party from the bottom on up. A party, you know, some of you may remember a Woody Guthrie song. And it's a song about a terribly bitter strike that took place in Harlan County, Kentucky, in the coal mines in the 30s. And Woody Guthrie wrote a song and he said, "Which side are you on?" And our job is to make it clear that the Democratic Party is on the side of working people. We'll take on the billionaire class and Wall Street and the drug companies and the insurance companies and, might I add, in Florida, the damn fossil fuel industry as well. Now, the reality is, that's right, no damn fracking. All right, while you got me on that subject, it's an amazing thing when you talk about greed and you talk about power. Here we are in the beautiful state of Florida. You know what? You have an extraordinary natural resource. In case you haven't noticed, it gets sunny here in Florida. Now, how in God's name is Florida not helping to lead the country in transforming our energy system? I cannot believe, with all of the solar exposure that this state has, how little your utility has done to move this state. It's sustainable energy. So when we talk about getting involved in the political process, you tell your utility, your monopoly here, that climate change is real and that the cost of solar energy is plummeting every single day. You want this state to move towards solar energy. I guess you have a governor. You got a governor who forbids his people to mention climate change. All right, so when we talk about a political revolution, you can lead it right here in Florida. Demand, fight to transform Florida's energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. You can do it right here. And I want to detour while we're on Florida issues. Let me mention something that is really, I think, very positive and very exciting, and it speaks to the good things that happen when people come together. Right through that alley, that pathway over there, there is the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That's where I spent last night. You may or may not know that just a few days ago, the workers in that hotel signed a union contract. They struggled for years. And as a result, as I understand it, of signing that contract, I think within the last week, their cost of their health care is going way, way down, and their wages are going up. They stood up, they fought back, and they won, and that's what we can do as a people. And I'll tell you another story. Way back, literally 10 years ago now, I ended up in Immokalee, Florida. Any of you know where Immokalee, Florida is? You know, all right. Well, you're the only people in the world. You're in Florida, you know where Immokalee is. Okay, most people don't know it. And I went down there because I had read about the exploitation of people there who were picking tomatoes. And literally, just coincidentally, on the day that I arrived in Immokalee, the front page of the paper had some contractor, some guy was being arrested for holding people in slavery. Can you imagine that? This is the year 2007. A person was being held involuntarily, forced to work involuntarily in Immokalee, Florida. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is that while I was down there, we had the opportunity to talk to the workers, and what we ended up doing is holding a hearing in Washington, and we all made some progress. The organizers down there doing a fantastic job, and the result is that people who were horrifically exploited are now living with a shred of dignity because they stood together and they fought back. No, it's not Bernie. No, it is real Hullet. Now, this is the point. Well, let's deal with that one. It's not Bernie at all. In this case, what you saw is working people coming together. In Immokalee, you saw some great organizers bringing people together. And by the way, what they did is they went to Burger King, and they went to McDonald's, and the other fast food restaurants who use these tomatoes, and they exposed them before the world. They said, you know what? You are purchasing tomatoes from people who are living just a notch above slavery, and we're going to expose you. They forced those companies and their agents to come to the table. That's what happens. Now, there are a lot of issues that are out there, but there are 2 or 3 that, to me, just absolutely need to be put on the table. Now, you're not going to hear a whole lot of people talking about this one, but my great worry politically in this country is that we are moving toward an oligarchic form of society. What does that mean? It means that between Wall Street and corporate America and a handful of billionaire families, you have a small number of people who control our economy. And as I mentioned earlier, people on top doing phenomenally well, unprecedentedly well. Meanwhile, you got something else that we have to worry about very, very much. And that is the billionaires in this country are not putting their wealth underneath their mattresses. They understand that politics matters. And you got people like the Koch brothers. Koch brothers, one family worth some 80, 90 billion dollars. They are spending hundreds of millions of dollars in order to elect candidates who represent the wealthy and the powerful. They are setting up think tanks. They are setting up chairs in universities to teach right-wing ideology. If you can believe it, there are people who believe, and I believe, that the Koch brothers today, one family, are more powerful than the Republican Party. One family. That is called oligarchy. And our job is not only to overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, our job is to reclaim a democracy which is about one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. And then as bad as Citizens United is, as bad as billionaires buying elections is, you got another reality. And that reality is you have cowardly Republican governors and legislatures all over this country who don't have the guts to participate in free, fair, and open elections. And they are working overtime to suppress the vote, to make it harder for poor people or people of color or old people or young people to vote. Now, you know, I have won elections, I have lost elections, but it has never occurred to me to figure out a way in my state of Vermont to keep people from voting because they might vote against me. If I cannot win an election on my ideas, on what I believe, on who I am, I should not win that election. So I say, And I say to these cowardly Republican governors, if you don't have the guts to believe in democracy, to allow everybody who should be voting to be voting, get out of politics and get another job. And the other issue that we have got to deal with out there that is just terrific is, you know, all of us, probably almost all of us, have friends who are dealing with addiction issues. They're dealing with drug problems, they're dealing with alcohol problems, they're dealing with this disorder or that disorder. But there is a particular kind of addictive disorder that the ruling class of this country now has. And that is they are into greed in a way that is unbelievable. You might think that if somebody was worth $2 billion or $5 billion, or in the Koch brothers case, $80 billion, that might be enough to get by. Probably be able to pay the rent and pay the electric bill. Leave some money to your kids. But what you have is an addictive greed, a sickness, in my view. And that is these greedy people want more and more and more. And our job is to tell them that their greed is destroying this country, and enough is enough. Our economy belongs to all of us, not just them. Our job is to make a political revolution. And that means to understand how pathetic it is that in 2014, 3 years ago, in the midterm elections, almost 2/3 of the American people did not vote. And that we have one of the lowest voter turnouts of any major country on earth. So it seems to me we have got to do two things. Number one, we have got to tell our neighbors, our family, our friends that politics is real. It impacts every person's life. It impacts our economy, our health care, our environment, women's rights, and so forth. If the Koch brothers are prepared to spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year on politics, tell your friends that politics is important. But number two, here is the issue. I understand why so many people are disillusioned. I understand why so many people are not voting. They're going to work and they're working 2 or 3 jobs. They're working 50 or 60 hours a week. And they look at Tallahassee and they look in Washington and they say, who the hell cares about me? They are a single mother making $40,000 a year with a 2-year-old baby who can't pay $15,000 a year for childcare. They are a 50-year-old worker who's worked at a plant for his whole life and suddenly sees that plant shut down and move to China, and nobody gives a damn when he has to go out and get a job at 50% of the salary. And who is caring about that 60-year-old worker who has worked, or she has worked her entire life, 5 years away from retirement, and half of the older workers in America have virtually nothing saved for retirement, scared to death. And who is talking or caring about that 20-year-old kid who did well in high school, who wants to go to college, who wants to make it into the middle class, but his or her family cannot afford the outrageously high cost of college? And who's listening to that 30-year-old who's been paying off student debt year after year, can't buy a house, can't buy a car, can't have kids because you're paying off that student debt? For what crime? The crime of trying to get a decent education. So what we need, in my view, is to involve people in an unprecedented way in the political process because we are living in an unprecedented time. You have a government now in Washington which is dominated by the billionaire class, which has an agenda that speaks to the needs of the billionaire class. Now, you go out, not just here in Florida, you go to any state in this country, go to the most conservative state, go to Oklahoma, go to Mississippi, you ask people whether it makes sense to give hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the 1% and then cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Nobody believes that except the Republican Party in Washington. So in order to get people involved in the political process, we need an agenda, a platform that speaks to the needs of the American people. And let me tell you what I think should be in that agenda. For a start, we need to join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care to all people as a right. Right now, we have a dysfunctional healthcare system whose primary beneficiaries are the insurance companies and the drug companies. And the only way that I know that we can provide health care to every man, woman, and child in a cost-effective way is through a Medicare for all single-payer program. It makes no sense that we are spending twice as much per person on health care as Canadians, 3 times more than the British spend, and our outcomes, our life expectancy, how we deal in childbirth and so forth, in many ways is worse than those countries. So our job, brothers and sisters, is to take on the insurance companies, take on the drug companies, and go forward to guarantee health care to all people as a right. And when we're on the issue of health care, with the exception of the crooks on Wall Street, the worst institution in Washington is the pharmaceutical industry. If you can believe it, and I want to tell you about crazy. You ready to hear about crazy? What crazy is about is that today in this country, 1 out of 5 people who walk into a doctor's office and get a prescription are unable to afford to fill that prescription. What is crazy is that senior citizens in Vermont and here in Florida are cutting their pills in half because they can't afford the price of the medicine. What is absurd is that 2 years ago, the top 5 drug companies made $50 billion in profits. Our job is to tell the drug companies that they're not going to continue ripping off the American people. We're not going to continue paying the highest prices in the world. They are going to lower their prices significantly. And when we talk about our economy, it is not acceptable to me nor to you that we have millions of Americans today who are working long hours but are still living in poverty because the wages they earn are starvation wages. A $7.25 minimum wage is a starvation wage. We have got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour. And within the next month, I will be introducing legislation to do just that. Nope. It's you and you and you. The only way, look, we defeated this disastrous Republican health care plan. You know how we defeated it? We defeated it because hundreds of thousands of people came out to rallies. And people looked their Republican member of Congress in the eye and they said, you know what? My wife will die if you repeal the Affordable Care Act. And you are not going to repeal the Affordable Care Act. The way change takes place, it's not Bernie. Bernie can't do anything without you. We are in this together. I can tell your governor that it is wrong and immoral and bad economics not to expand Medicaid to many hundreds of thousands of people here in Florida. I can tell him that. You can unelect him. And when we talk about wages, and here again, it's important to understand how the process works. 5 years ago, if we were in this room and somebody jumped up and said, you know, Bernie, minimum wage, 7 1/4, it's absurd, it's starvation wage, we got to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. The person next to her would have said, you're crazy. Because what you want to do is more than double the federal minimum wage. You're crazy. You're thinking too big. You're too radical. All right? And that's what they always tell you. Medicare for all, too radical. So what if the rest of the world has it? We somehow can't do it. All right? But what happened, and again, this is from the bottom on up, what happened? Working people in the fast food industry, they went out on strike. And they demonstrated, and I had the honor of going out on picket lines with them. But by the thousands, they left their McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's shops, and they said, we need a living wage. And then suddenly, the ideas began spreading all over the country, and people began to understand, you can't live on $8 an hour. You can't live on $9 an hour. And then out in Seattle, Washington, City Council there passed $15 an hour. And San Francisco, and California, and New York State, and now all across the country. 3 or 4 years ago, Democrats were saying, well, 7 1/4, much too, let's raise the minimum wage to $10.10. Now, the number is $15 an hour because you made it happen. When people stand up and fight back, you change the dynamics, you change the reality. What looked like something impossible yesterday becomes reality today. And here's another area that we have got to put on the table. This is 2017. Women in America cannot continue to work for 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. And we have got to stand up to those hypocrites who tell us we are conservatives. We believe people have a right to control their own lives, get the government off our backs, small government, but they are about to tell every woman in America what she can do with her body. That is hypocrisy. You know, I hear a lot in Washington about family values. My Republican friends, they just love families. And yet in the United States, again, and it's important for every American to understand this, We are one of few countries, the only country in the industrialized world, and one of the few countries in the entire world that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. So today in Vermont, today in Florida, a woman has a baby, and if she doesn't have adequate income, she has to go back to work in a week or two. That is not a family value. That is against everything that we stand for. A mother and a dad have the right to spend time with their newborn baby. 12 weeks guaranteed paid family and medical leave. There are communities all over this country, often minority communities, sometimes rural communities, where youth unemployment is 20, 30, 40%. And the result of that is that as a nation, we today have more people in jail than any other country on earth. We have over 2 million people in jail, disproportionately African American, Latino, and Native Americans. We're spending $80 billion a year to lock up fellow Americans. Well, I think it is time to rethink our criminal justice system. In so many ways, but at the very least, what we must be doing is investing in jobs and education, not jails and incarceration. I want our young people working at meaningful jobs or in school, not rotting away in a jail cell. And then we have an issue that is on us right now, and that is we have some 11 million undocumented people in this country. People who are being scapegoated, people who are being frightened, people who are being attacked in every way. And our job is to say to Mr. Trump, stop scapegoating people, pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship. There is a lot of fear in communities all over this country. People who have been in this country for 10, 15, 20 years, raising their kids here, they are scared to death. And our job is, together as a nation, to say that we respect those people, that we're going to work with those people, and we are finally going to pass immigration reform. And the important point here also is we cannot, I think all of us who studied history understand how demagogues work. How demagogues always work, not just in America, but all over the world. What you do is you pick on people who are often weak and powerless, minorities. And what you tell the majority, that you don't have a job, it's his fault. You're earning low wages, it's her fault. And you divide people up. So you have a president, you have his friends out there attacking the Latino community, attacking the Muslim community. You have a president who, before he ran for office, was a leader of the so-called birther movement, trying to delegitimize the presidency of the first African American we've ever had. And that's how they always do it. They divide us up by our sexual orientation, the country we came from, our gender, the color of our skin. And the way we defeat them is we stand together and not allow us to be divided up. Now, Donald Trump became president of the United States because he said to people here in Florida, all over this country, that he was going to stand with the working class of this country. And I think what many of the people who voted for him are now seeing is that he lied. That he never had any intention of standing with working people. So I say to President Trump, you're not standing with working people when you support health care legislation which throws 24 million working people off health insurance and substantially raises premiums for older workers and defunds Planned Parenthood and cuts Medicaid by $800 billion. That is not standing with working people. You're not standing with working people when you give huge, may I use that word? Tax breaks to billionaires, and then you cut back on the Meals on Wheels program, after-school programs, the WIC program. You know what the WIC program is? WIC program is a very successful program which makes sure that low-income pregnant women and their babies have nutrition, have good nutrition. They want to eliminate the WIC program and expand military spending by $80 billion over the next 2 years. So I think that a lot of Mr. Trump's supporters, people who voted for him, because they weren't happy with the status quo, they looked around them, they were working longer hours for low wages, and they said, we're going to try something new. We're going to go to Mr. Trump. He's talking about who's going to take on the establishment. President Trump, you don't take on the establishment when you appoint more billionaires to your administration than any president in history. You don't take on the establishment when half of Goldman Sachs is now in your administration. You're not taking on the administration when you appoint an EPA director who doesn't even believe in the reality of climate change. So, brothers and sisters, we have got a lot of work in front of us. The truth is that the other side, they have endless amounts of money. And by that, I mean endless. They have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to spend on elections. That's what they got. But we have something that they don't have. And that is, we have the people. But if people are not involved, if you're not thinking about running for school board, if you're not thinking about running for city council, state legislature, Congress, whatever it is, if you're not prepared to support people, if you're not going to get in the fight to transform our energy system, if you're not going to get in the fight to improve and protect public education in America, you're not going to get in the fight for women's rights or gay rights. If you're just standing back and moaning and groaning and making funny jokes about Trump, that ain't good enough. Now, one of the things that the establishment does and the kind of the media does is they give out this message that, hey, what are you? You're just an ordinary person. Maybe you're a school teacher. Maybe you're a worker in a factory. You're not smart enough. You know, you don't have a PhD. You don't really know what's going on. Don't get involved. And people lack confidence to get involved. So let me cheer you up by telling you this. I am a member of the United States Senate. And every day I associate with members of the United States Senate and the House of Representatives. Trust me, if you think you don't know what's going on, take a look at what's going on in Washington today. And that's my point. My point is, you can do it. Yeah, I know you may not know everything about the United States budget. You know, I'm on the budget committee. I don't know everything about the budget, all right? You may not know all the fine details about climate change, but you know what you do know? You know that we don't give tax breaks to billionaires and cut programs for working people. You know that every person in America is entitled to health care as a right. You know that we've got to fight racism and sexism and homophobia. Well, if you know that, you can learn the rest. So what I am imploring you is break through the mold. Do things that you have never done before. Get involved in ways that you have never been involved before. The stakes are enormously high. What we are talking about is not just your lives, the kinds of economy, the kinds of health care, the kinds of education. We're talking about what happens to your kids and your grandchildren. In terms of climate change, we are talking about whether our grandkids are going to be able to live in a planet which is healthy and habitable. So you don't have a choice. Don't throw your hands up in despair. Don't just talk to your friends. Get involved in any and every way that you think makes sense. So the message of tonight, stand up, fight back. We're going to win this thing. Thank you all very much.
Some cat was laying down some rock and roll, let us say then the loud sound it seemed to fade, came back like a slow voice on a wave of fate. That weren't no DJ, that was